7 years ago, I'm Aurora, and I was a hopeful adventure guide, dreaming of traveling the world. That dream took an unexpected turn when I met Ethan, a charming and successful man. We fell in love quickly, got married, and I thought I had found my perfect life. Then, one evening over dinner, Ethan shared exciting news about a job offer from a prestigious law firm in another city. "It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity," he said with excitement. Although I was happy for him, my heart sank at the thought of leaving my job, but my love for Ethan was stronger. We moved to a spacious house in a new city. Initially, it was an adventure. But as we settled in, a different side of Ethan emerged. One day, he criticized the mess in our half-unpacked living room. "Work faster." "I can't live like this," he demanded. I was taken aback, but dismissed it as stress from his new job. As time went on, finding a job for myself became challenging. I mentioned returning to tour guiding, but Ethan dismissed it outright, insisting I focus on managing our home instead. His demeanor became more commanding and dismissive. "Your job is to make everything perfect for me," he declared. I reluctantly agreed, holding back tears, missing the man I married. As months turned into years, my life became a cycle of endless chores and treading lightly around Ethan, whose demands and temper worsened. Suggesting a housekeeper led to an outburst about wasting his money, emphasizing that my place was to be the perfect housewife. I tried to fulfill this role, hoping to rekindle the love we once shared, but Ethan's expectations only grew as his career flourished. Meanwhile, I faded into the background, managing his social media strategist and crafting an image of a successful, happy couple, which was far from the truth. One evening, as I was preparing dinner, Ethan stormed in, visibly upset. "Shut up and get my food ready," he snapped. I served him, but he rejected the meal violently and ordered me to clean up the mess. Standing over the broken pieces, I realized how much I had changed and how trapped I felt in a life far from what I had dreamed. I found myself on my knees, gathering the shattered pieces from the floor as tears threatened to spill from my eyes. Holding them back was part of our new routine. The following day, fueled by a determination to improve things, I spent hours cooking Ethan's favorite meal. As I set the table, I was struck with dread upon realizing I had forgotten to buy bread. Just as Ethan entered the room, loosening his tie, he asked, "Where's my food?" "It's coming right up," I replied, quickly serving the soup. However, as he sat down and noticed the missing bread, his temper flared. "Are you this incompetent?" he bellowed, and with a swift motion, he sent the bowl flying off the table. The hot soup splashed across my leg, drawing a sharp cry of pain from me. "God, you're so stupid," Ethan muttered, leaving me alone to manage the pain and the mess. Sobbing quietly as I cleaned up, a stark realization hit me like lightning. How had things gotten so terrible? When had I lost myself to this torment? The next morning, I awoke with a new sense of purpose. "Ethan," I said as he prepared to leave for work, "I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce." He turned with a menacing grin. "A divorce?" He laughed chillingly, sending shivers down my spine. "Listen carefully, Aurora. If you leave me, I'll ruin you. You'll have nothing, no money, no reputation. You'll end up on the streets." His words made my heart skip, but despite his threats, I knew I couldn't continue living in despair. That day was a turning point. Though I lacked the courage to leave immediately, I began to secretly record our conversations, save his abusive messages, and document every incident. If I was to break free, I needed evidence. As I continued my secret documentation, Ethan's career soared. He won a high-profile case and decided to host a celebration at our home, instructing me to prepare everything from scratch. For days, I worked tirelessly, cleaning and cooking to ensure everything was perfect for the party. On the night of the event, I was beyond exhausted. Ethan came home early with a bottle of wine and, surprisingly, offered me a glass. "Here," he said, "you look like you could use this." The wine tasted strange, but I attributed it to my fatigue and barely noticed as Ethan hardly touched his own glass. "Go change. The guests will be arriving soon," he instructed. As I ascended the stairs, A sudden dizziness overcame me. By the time I reached our bedroom, the room was spinning wildly, and I collapsed onto the bed, consciousness slipping away. When I awoke, sunlight was streaming through the windows, leaving me confused and groggy. Walked downstairs and found Ethan's mother, Victoria, in the kitchen, her face twisted in displeasure. "Well, look who decided to grace us with their presence," she scoffed. "You ought to be ashamed." Confused, I asked, "What happened?" My head was throbbing. "You got drunk and made a fool of my son in front of all his colleagues," Victoria replied, her voice rising with each word. "He had to call me to entertain his guests because his wife was too inebriated to stand." Feeling nauseous, I protested. "No, that's not possible. I only had one glass of wine." "Don't bother with excuses," Victoria snapped, cutting me off. "I've always known you weren't right for my Ethan. Now everyone sees the mess you are." As she continued to berate me, pieces of the evening began to come back to me. The strange taste of the wine, Ethan barely sipping his, and a sudden wave of dizziness. I murmured to myself, "He drugged me," as the realization struck me hard. After Victoria stormed out, I sat at the kitchen table, piecing together the situation. Ethan was undermining my reputation systematically. If I left him now, who would believe my side of the story? That day marked a turning point for me. I bought a new phone and hid it, starting to record everything. Ethan's drunken outbursts, his late-night cleaning orders, every harsh word and threat. One recording in particular stood out painfully. It was my birthday. I had prepared a special dinner, clinging to a faint hope for a peaceful evening. Ethan arrived late, reeking of alcohol. As he entered the kitchen, I pressed record on my hidden phone. "What's all this?" he slurred, eyeing the carefully set table. "It's my birthday, Ethan. I made dinner," I responded gently. He laughed cruelly. "Your birthday? Who cares? Look at you. You don't deserve a celebration." His words hit me hard, but I continued recording as he ranted and eventually swept the plates off the table, the food splattering across the floor I had just cleaned. On another bizarre night captured by the recording, Ethan woke me at 2:10 a.m. "Get up," he hissed, pulling me out of bed. "The house is filthy. Clean it. Now." For hours, I scrubbed every surface while Ethan followed, critiquing harshly. All the while, my phone recorded, documenting his relentless demands and my weary compliance. These recordings became my secret arsenal, concrete proof of the abuse I endured. Throughout each day, I diligently ensured that every document was securely stored and preserved in a digital archive, symbolizing both my trials and the eventual journey toward freedom. Despite this, whispers and disdainful stares from my husband Ethan's friends were frequent. Nonetheless, I maintained the facade of the devoted wife, while clandestinely striving for my liberation. Our wedding anniversary loomed near, and despite everything, a faint hope flickered within me that our relationship might see better days. However, history had taught me to expect the opposite. On the night of our anniversary, Ethan returned home jubilant. "I've reserved a table at the finest restaurant in town," he beamed, suggesting we celebrate. Though hesitant, I consented. Before departing, Ethan offered me a glass of lemonade he claimed to have prepared himself. His smile was unsettling, failing to mask the deceit in his eyes. Intuition screaming caution, I feigned sipping the drink, but discreetly disposed of it into a plant when he stepped away to make a call. As we drove, a creeping drowsiness overcame me. Struggling against the heaviness of my eyelids, I soon found myself semi-conscious, being dragged from the car. Through blurred vision, I witnessed Ethan looking down on me with scorn. "This is where you belong," he sneered, hurling my purse into the darkness. As he drove off, leaving me amidst the chaos of an unsafe neighborhood, the echo of distant gunshots intensified the peril. Despite the fear, I rallied my courage and spotted a flickering neon sign of a nearby convenience store, my beacon of hope. Clattering heels on the cracked pavement, I rushed inside, startling the clerk, Maya. "Please, I need help." "May I use your phone?" I implored. Maya regarded me with a blend of concern and suspicion, but quickly acted by locking the door to safeguard us from potential harm, then handed me her cell phone. With trembling hands, I called my friend Shady, who expressed shock upon learning of my location. "Ethan left me here," I disclosed, urgency clear in my voice. "Please, can you come get me?" She assured me she was on her way. As I waited, Maya's kindness was a soothing salve against the harshness I had endured. "You may have saved my life tonight," I gratefully told her as Sadie's car appeared. I attempted to give Maya the expensive ring Ethan had once given me as a token of my gratitude, but she refused. "Keep it, honey. Use it as a reminder of your strength and start anew," she advised. Maya's simple act of humanity not only sheltered me from immediate danger, but also reaffirmed the compassion that still existed in the world, contrasting sharply with the cruelty I had known. Beginning a new chapter in my life was daunting, yet necessary. As tears streamed down my face, I embraced her tightly before hurrying to Sadie's car. As we sped off, Sadie looked at me with resolve and said, "Tiff, it's time you stood up for yourself." "But how?" I murmured, feeling utterly powerless. "He holds all the cards, all the connections." "Not all," Sadie countered, her voice firm. "I know someone in TV. It's time the world heard your story." The next few days felt surreal. Sadie's contact, a TV producer, got me a slot on a widely viewed talk show. The bright lights of the studio dazzled me as I stepped onto the stage. The show's compassionate host welcomed me warmly. "Aurora, thank you for joining us today. Can you share your story with us?" With a deep breath, I recounted my ordeal, years of emotional torment, manipulation, and a particularly harrowing incident. The audience's reactions ranged from shock to empathy. "Why speak out now?" inquired. "Because silence isn't an option anymore," I declared, my voice surging with newfound strength. "There are countless women suffering quietly, thinking they're alone. I want to tell them they're not." As the show wrapped up, my phone was inundated with notifications. My story had resonated deeply, sparking a wave of support. Yet, amidst the positive messages, one chilling text stood out. It was from Ethan. "You'll regret this, you lying scum. I'll destroy you." Shaking, I showed Sadie the message. Her eyes blazed with determination. "He's just sealed his fate. We've got him now." Leaving the studio, I sensed the onset of a major confrontation, but for the first time in years, I felt armed and ready. In the days that followed, my life became a whirlwind of interviews, legal consultations, and outreach from women's rights groups. Ethan's threats persisted, but with each one, my resolve only hardened. One morning, a call from an unknown number reached me. "Is this Aurora?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes, who's this?" "I'm Emery Reeves, a family lawyer. I want to offer my help with your case," she explained. "I appreciate it, but I can't afford an attorney." I hesitated. "You misunderstand," Emery interjected. "My firm will represent you pro bono. We've been looking for a way to challenge Ethan Peterson for a long time. Your case might just be the key." It turned out Ethan had accumulated numerous adversaries over the years. Emery's firm had represented several who had unfairly lost to him under dubious circumstances. They viewed my case as a chance to not only assist me, but also to expose Ethan's unethical maneuvers. The following day, I met with Emery and her team, ready to embark on this legal battle. As we strategized, I realized that this was more than just my fight. It was a stand for justice, and I was no longer alone. I presented all my evidence, voice recordings, text messages, everything, to my attorney, Emery. Her eyes widened in surprise. "This is exactly what we need, Aurora," she said excitedly as she reviewed the files. "With this, we can not only win your divorce, but might even have grounds to disbar Ethan." As the divorce proceedings kicked off, Ethan didn't hold back. He portrayed me as an unfaithful, alcoholic wife bent on tarnishing his reputation out of sheer spite. During the court session, his lawyer claimed, "Mrs. Peterson's behavior has been erratic, coupled with her substance abuse issues. These accusations are merely a ploy by a vindictive woman attempting to extort a diligent man." It was heart-wrenching to watch Ethan's mother, Victoria, take the stand, tearfully detailing episodes where she claimed I had been embarrassingly drunk, like at Ethan's company party. She was an absolute disgrace, Victoria cried. My son has suffered immensely because of her actions. I felt nauseous listening to their fabrications, but Emery held my hand reassuringly. Don't worry, she whispered. We're just getting started. When it was our turn, Emery was formidable. She played back Ethan's abusive recordings, displayed his menacing texts, and outlined his increasingly aggressive behavior. And now, Emery announced, I'd like to call Shady Thompson to the stand. Shady shared how she had to pick me up from a risky area, supporting my version of events. Ethan's attorney interrupted with a shout, Objection. That's hearsay. But the judge waved him off, overruled. Continue, Miss Thompson. Emery then called Maya, a store manager, who testified about the state I was in when I rushed into her store one night, seeking refuge, and how she had locked the door for my safety. With each witness's testimony, Ethan's composure unraveled, his face reddening in anger. The decisive moment came when Emery presented a toxicology report. Your Honor, we had Mrs. Peterson's hair analyzed for long-term drug exposure, she stated confidently. The results indicate sedatives that align with her claims of being drugged by Mr. Peterson. The courtroom buzzed with murmurs. Ethan jumped up, yelling, She's lying. You can't trust this. The judge sternly cautioned him, Mr. Peterson, control yourself, or I will hold you in contempt. As the evidence piled up, the atmosphere in the courtroom shifted from doubt to shock and sympathy. Even some of Ethan's own friends looked appalled by the revelations. The judge called for a recess to review everything. As we left the courtroom, I caught Ethan's eye, seeing fear for the first time. When we returned for the verdict, the room was tense. Everyone seemed to sense the gravity of the moment. Judge Harris spoke solemnly after a long pause. After thorough review of all evidence, this court rules in favor of Mrs. Aurora Peterson. A shocked gasp echoed through the courtroom, marking a pivotal moment of vindication for me. I found myself utterly shocked as the judge delivered his ruling. Mr. Ethan Peterson is required to pay alimony, forfeit half of all shared assets, and compensate for emotional distress. Additionally, he must cover all legal expenses tied to this matter. At this, Ethan lost his composure. This is ridiculous. I'll fight this. You can't treat me like this. The judge sternly advised him to remain calm, considering the presented evidence spared him criminal charges. Despite his lawyer's attempts to calm him, the judge then addressed me directly. Mrs. Peterson, this court also issues a restraining order against Mr. Peterson. He is to keep his distance and not contact you by any means. Tears rolled down my cheeks as relief washed over me. In the ensuing weeks, life became a whirlwind of change. I left what had felt like a cage and moved into a modest, welcoming apartment. After years, I could finally breathe freely. Yet, Ethan's harassment didn't cease. He used mutual friends to convey threats, and I'd occasionally see his car near my new home. One evening, over coffee, my friend Shady expressed her concerns. He won't stop, will he? I agreed, already formulating a plan. You're right, and I think I have a solution. Having never changed his social media strategist passwords, Ethan underestimated me. I began to document the entire ordeal of our divorce online using his profiles. I posted court documents, recordings, and narrated my side of the story. The public's reaction was swift and devastating to Ethan's image. His employer distanced themselves from the scandal, leading to his resignation, and his clients deserted him. When Ethan discovered what I'd done, he furiously showed up at my apartment, shouting threats. I promptly called the police, and with the evidence of his threats recorded on my phone, he was arrested for breaching the restraining order. As he was taken away, I saw the remnants of the man I once loved, now broken by his own actions and arrogance. In the months that followed, I heard Ethan had moved states in an attempt to restart his career, but his tarnished reputation lingered, hindering his efforts. As for me, my ordeal turned into an unexpected opportunity. A local organization aiding women in abusive situations offered me a position. I eagerly accepted, eager to transform my past agony into support for others. A year later, as I stood before a group of women who had faced similar hardships, sharing my journey, I saw a spark of hope reignite in their eyes. This moment underscored a profound shift in my life, from surviving to empowering. As I addressed the group before me, I expressed how much each of their stories mattered, reminding them of their individual strengths and assuring them that they were not alone. In that moment, I realized that my struggles and the battle for my own freedom had always been about more than just myself. It was about aiding others in their fights for freedom too. Gradually, my role at the Adventure Guide transformed from just a job into my true calling. I connected deeply with women from diverse backgrounds, all sharing their own intense stories of enduring and overcoming abuse. Among them was a young woman named Eden, whose experience with a controlling husband and the isolating world she lived in echoed too many others. Over several weeks, I helped Eden devise a safety plan and bolster her confidence. When she finally left her husband, the relief on her face mirrored the expressions of many others I had assisted. "Thank you. You saved my life," she whispered during a heartfelt embrace, her words profoundly impacting me. With each person I helped, I realized I was healing too. Our center's growing reputation led to invitations for me to speak publicly. Initially daunted by the idea of public speaking, I was encouraged by my steadfast friend, Shady. "Tiff, your story could change lives," she urged. At my first engagement, a local university talk, as I stood before the attendees, an unexpected strength surged through me. "My name is Aurora," I began, "and this is my story of survival." My words visibly touched the audience, eliciting emotional responses and sparking conversations afterwards. Many approached me to share their own stories or to offer their support. That night, as I reflected on the day, I felt a deep sense of purpose. My painful past had now become a powerful catalyst for change. Speaking engagements across the country followed, including at universities, women's shelters, and even a TEDx event. With each appearance, I drew strength from knowing that my experiences could be a crucial support for someone in need. During this period, I began writing a book about my journey. Although revisiting my darkest moments was challenging, writing became a therapeutic outlet, helping me process my trauma anew. The day my book was published marked a surreal moment. My story was out there for the world, bringing a mix of terror and immense pride. To my astonishment, the book resonated widely, climbing bestseller lists and leading to national television interviews. In one memorable interview, when asked if I had any regrets, I paused, reflecting on my journey and its impact, both on myself and on others, before responding. "I lament the time I spent trapped by fear and suffering, but I don't regret the path I've taken. Every challenge and hardship I faced has brought me to where I stand today, equipped to empower others to discover their own resilience. I wouldn't alter any part of my past because as I pursue my mission, I see that my own narrative is still unfolding. Each day presents new hurdles and fresh chances to evolve and to assist others. The woman who once lived in silence and fear has transformed into an advocate for those without a voice, a beacon of hope for others still ensnared in the shadows from which I have emerged.